Ladies, get a hearty round of applause.
Thank you.
You don't have a table, so you're gonna have to hold that. Cool. Well, so you guys were not at a table, so you weren't able to fill out your big challenge. What would yours have been, Angie?
Oh gosh, I didn't actually think about that. I think it is the transition to tech and how we as publishers are now having to embrace so many different types of technology and understanding what they do.
Okay.
I think
Jenny.
One of the challenges we faced, and I'm kind of talking from an adult's perspective, is, if you're reviewing ad servers, we kind of know and understand what they do, but I think the biggest challenge is when it's a new piece of tech. So, for example, we've just implemented a new DMP, and it's about knowing what are the right questions to ask, because this is a whole new area for us, and I think that can be sometimes some of the biggest challenges.
Mm-hmm. So do you know, like, on that example, is it you're introducing a new DMP because, like, a lot of people were talking about the importance of DMPs, or do you feel pretty confident that it's part of a coherent strategy?
I definitely think it's the right thing to do. It's about future-proofing your business. But obviously there is that thing where, are you choosing that because other people are? But I think when there's a lot of noise in the industry, you have to question and you have to look and think, is this something we should be doing?
Mm-hmm. So Angie, when you had said, just the sort of larger overall transition to tech, and explain a little bit. I mean, what is the challenge of knowing that you have a really solid strategy? Everyone's trying to rush to keep up with, new acronyms are coming out every day. How do you know that you have a coherent strategy in place and you're not just playing sort of whack-a-mole?
Well, this is the thing. This is what we were discussing earlier. Is it us jumping on the bandwagon and everyone else is getting a DMP, so we need to get a DMP? For me, the challenge is getting that strategy spot on. What are we going to achieve as a business as a result of implementing this tech, or is it us just getting another piece of tech because everyone else is getting a DMP? Mm-hmm. Everyone is getting, not everyone, publishers are looking into trading desks. Is that right for our business? And the underlying strategy and how we take it to market, for me, is key. Unless we don't know what we're taking this product on for, it just doesn't make any sense. And that I find is a big challenge at the moment, is the underlying strategy behind all of this tech.
Mm-hmm. So is that, what do you spend most of your time worrying about?
Have we got it right? Are we bringing in this product or this tech, and what problem are we trying to solve as a business? What are we trying to fix, and getting that right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Angie, what do you end up worrying about for your day-to-day?
Jenny.
I'm sorry, Jenny.
There are a lot of challenges. I think one of the things is when you do have a new piece of tech in place, and we probably over the last, I'd say 3 years, have had about 8 or 9 new pieces of technology that we've implemented across the business, which have all sort of had a relatively direct impact on what we do from an operational side. And it's kind of keeping up with that. It's making sure that you've got the right resource in place to kind of manage that tech.
So you say 8 or 9 pieces.
Yeah.
You have been at Dennis a long time.
Yeah.
15 years. Amazing. Do you have do you have like a gold watch?
I should get one though. I've
should.
got my 3rd sabbatical, so
there's some for sale in the lobby. It's gonna cost you. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Thanks.
Just judging by what the pizza costs, like 30 euros. So implementing 9 pieces of technology. Go back, say 4 years ago. What was that number?
A lot less, and it was old inherent tech that we had. So an old booking system, and maybe an old data warehouse that no one knew how to use, or there was only one person that knew how to use it. Whereas now there's multiple pieces of technology across the business that we've implemented, from CMS to CRM, SSP, DMP, ad server upgrade, a new data warehouse, automated marketing platform. And that's kind of really happened over the last 3 years. So yeah, it's a lot to get your head around, and you need to have the right people in place to kind of manage that.
Talk about the internal challenges. I mean, a lot of this is sort of the external, dealing with the external noise, but what are the sort of internal challenges for you, Jenny?
I think it kind of goes back to having that right resource in place. And, with any new piece of tech comes new processes, and I think that can be a bit of a cultural shift and a cultural change to kind of get people to think differently about think of different ways to use that tech and not think of using it in the same way that they were using the old piece of tech. It's an opportunity to think differently, and I think sometimes that can take a bit of time to adjust, and no one likes change, and often I think a lot of people can't see the benefits immediately because things take a lot longer to do, so it can take time.
Mm-hmm. So Angie, do you see technology within media companies interesting, because it's never been thought of as the core competency of media companies? Do you see technology occupying that kind of role, or close to that role?
I don't see it occupying it. I think with tech, a few years ago, there'd be, if we take ad servers, for example, someone like me would go out, meet with the ad server, ensure it's right for the business, implement it, speak to the dev team and get it done. That's now changing massively, where you have multiple stakeholders, one piece of tech touching so many different parts of the business. I don't think we're becoming tech companies, but multiple stakeholders becoming more reliant on technology, definitely.
So what does the CBS Interactive tech stack look like?
Pretty massive. There is a lot of tech.
Whose stack's bigger?
It's pretty big. I've only been there 7 months.
So you're just finding parts of it?
I am finding pretty much, and this is seriously, pretty much once a week I find out we are using, oh yeah, right, we're using that, we're using this. So it is a pretty big stack, and all have different uses.
You open up a closet, find an SSP in there.
Pretty much. There's a lot of technology that powers the business, and every single piece of tech has its own purpose and its own reason for being there.
How confident are you that it all works together?
I'm pretty confident, absolutely. We've got an amazing team of people. I'm pretty confident that the tech that's being implemented is there for the right reason. Being a global company and us being in the UK, my priority is making sure we're taking advantage of the technology and using it in our markets in the correct way.
Mm-hmm. Also, how do you balance the sort of need to move quickly with the need to be thoughtful strategically, like you were mentioning? Because
just have a really good team of people.
Just
have a really good team of people, and I think with
go
technology,
off to the Riviera and just
yeah, exactly. With the technology comes a lot of opportunity. Quite often, again, as Jane said, we're speaking from an operational perspective. You get to a point in that role where you think, where do I go from here? So what I have found with implementing technology, it's opening up a lot more opportunity, a lot more room for development, and getting those specialists within your team, which gives us time to think more strategically.
Mm-hmm. Jen, are you seeing ad ops and sales work better together?
Yes, I would say probably over the last 4 years since we've kind of implemented some new processes and kind of restructured some of the teams, the relationship with ad ops and sales, I'm happy to say, is a good relationship. When we do come across problems, it's not about pointing fingers, it's about kind of working together to solve that problem. I think that largely helps when you're actually sitting close by. That communication just is greatly improved. I think if you're on another floor in another building, the friction, it can be quite intense, and I think it's quite difficult to manage because, they constantly need to be speaking to us or communicating with us. And we also, probably about maybe 3 years ago, we had a slight restructure where we introduced sort of account execs that act like sales support people. So, you've got your salespeople that are terrible at admin. That was no longer their responsibility. Those were the account execs. And, they were there, brought in to make sure that the information coming across to us was correct. And I think that irons out a lot of problems. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How much of a complicating factor is this shift to mobile? I mean, having the technology in place, but to make sure that you have desktop covered, yes, but mobile too. Is it more or less, or it doesn't matter?
Mobile has been a big challenge for us in terms of we've started to move our sites to responsive sites, and I think trying to get what's largely your desktop site fitting into mobile and fitting into that small screen with all the functionality has definitely been challenging, and we absolutely need to have that thinking time to get that right. And I think things like building out a revenue model for mobile has been difficult. I think you probably find for a lot of publishers that's quite challenging to get that right and make money out of mobile.
Yeah, Angie, any thoughts on mobile?
Yeah, same. I think it's from an advertiser agency perspective and the skills that are needed to make mobile. I mean, I'd be quite happy to hear if anyone here is getting it right and what their mobile strategy is and how they perceive it sort of moving forwards. But it is challenging, and same as what Jenny said, a lot of our sites are responsive now.
So it's still a lot, not all?
Most of them are responsive now. We've got many sites, but most are responsive. But it's getting those high impact formats on that real estate, the really small real estate.
So is that the big challenge now? I mean, yes, having your content able to be consumed on any device is obviously just sort of, that's the first step. And now it's like, how do you have a monetization model that works, both for the audience and
I'd love to hear if anyone's got that right.
Yeah, I mean, we're still at that stage where we're just starting to roll out sites, so we're not there yet in terms of working that out.
Yeah. So, Angie, you've only been there 7 months, so maybe you haven't had time to make any mistakes. But you can draw on a previous mistake. Take a deep drink. What's something that went wrong in a technology implementation, and why?
Lack of planning. And
Well, what is something? Give me an example.
Oh, an actual technology that's gone wrong?
Well, yeah.
Can I name what? Can I?
Yeah,
name?
of course.
So controversial.
I can give you something that's gone wrong.
Oh,
You can
she's
think
about
about
to
it.
cave. She's about to
So we rolled out Salesforce about a year ago now, and I think one of the things that we got wrong was that, again, we tried to replicate what we were doing in the new platform, and obviously that doesn't work. So we actually, it's an opportunity to think differently, and we didn't take that opportunity. But what we did get right was we actually, then had time to sort of reflect and, make changes and obviously improve that. So that's, I think that's one of the challenges that's quite easy to make when you're implementing kind of new piece of tech. That's a lot more powerful than your kind of existing tech.
That was a good. Jenny named names, so.
Jenny Jane. We've implemented tech in the past where we've made mistakes, and I'll go back to my original point. Our biggest mistake has been not understanding the core functionality and what it is, what was the reason for implementing it, and getting that wrong, and not planning and not getting stakeholders involved. Going back a few years, it used to, like I say, be a few people. We've got now multiple stakeholders within multiple points of the business that need to be involved right from the beginning.
Okay, so final thing, then I want to open it up to questions. What's on the 2015 roadmap? What's your one priority that you'll be really happy if you get it done?
If we got it right.
Yeah, get it done and get it right.
I've got quite a few. Using our data in the most efficient way that is appealing to the market and what it is the market really want to do, and creating awesome data segments that are really appealing to the market.
Okay.
Would be one thing, if I could get right, would be pretty cool.
From my perspective, again, we're kind of in that period of implementing a number of pieces of technology, and I think for me, we've got a new automated marketing platform that we're in the early stages of implementing, and if we can get that right, that would be really exciting. Really exciting.
Cool. I wanted to open it up to questions. We have a microphone in the back. Megan has it. You get to ask the first question of Digiday Publishing Summit Europe. There is no prize. Anyone? This one over here.
Is this on? This is not on.
No, it's on.
Oh, it is now. First question of Digiday. Leon Gervich from OpenX. I'm curious what type of decisions or how you consider decisions on a regional basis versus a global basis when it comes to technology, especially when it comes to data, DMPs, ad servers, et cetera.
Yes, we are a global company, but we very much have our own autonomy to work in our own local markets, especially when it comes to data. The markets are so different when it comes to this type of thing. How we make it work is, like I said, we get our stakeholders in a room, brainstorming, a lot of planning and making sure we're creating what's right for our market, even though the overall technology might be driven from the US.
Okay. Who wants to ask the second question? Anyone? Okay. Jenny and Angie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. Thank you.